everyone, welcome back to Market Insights by Nebula Trades. I'm Nova, and we are going to break down complex market dynamics into simple trade ideas. Today, we're looking at TEM, and honestly, this setup shows a lot of potential. It's a perfect example of how following the money tells us exactly where a stock is headed. Quick roadmap for today, we'll check out the current setup, break down 3 key forces I'm seeing, and what would invalidate this setup. Don't worry if you're new to options mechanics, I'll break everything down step by step. So here's what's happening with TEM right now. We're at $53.51, up about 4.88% today. But forget the daily move, there's something way more interesting going on under the hood. The big players are positioning themselves for a major move as seen here on this flowchart, and I'll show you exactly how this will affect price action. Let's start with what caught my eye on this one, the gamma profile. It is setting up perfectly. When you look at the data, we've got 74% positive gamma versus 26% negative. Think of gamma like a spring mechanism in the market. The more they push it down, the more energy builds up for a move higher. What's really cool is how this creates a natural support zone around $50. Every time the price dips, that positive gamma forces market makers to buy more, creating this beautiful mechanical floor. Now the vanna profile, this is where it gets even better. We're looking at a 56% positive vanna profile. If you're newer to this, think of vanna like the market's mood ring. When volatility calms down, positive vanna creates this natural drift higher. It's like having a tide that's slowly but surely pushing the stock up. And with put implied volatility at 180.13% versus call implied volatility at 102.83%, we've got plenty of room for that volatility to compress and send us higher. Peak negative vanna at 50 makes it an excellent reversion level, but notice how this level later on shifts to 45. Now check this out, the institutional positioning is insane. You know how when you're at a poker table and someone starts stacking their chips in a certain way? They're telling you what they're about to do without saying a word. That's exactly what's happening here. We're seeing an 84% positive versus 16% negative delta split. That's not just bullish, that's institutions practically screaming their intentions. What makes this setup so special is how these forces are working together. Think of it like a choose-your-own-adventure book, but both paths lead to treasure. Path 1 is straightforward, hold $50, consolidate and ride the vanna effects higher. Path 2 is even better, we get a quick dip to $45 where big players can load up for an even bigger move up. Either way, everything I'm seeing points to $65 to $70 as our destination in the coming months and quarters. Now, let's talk about what could be an early sign that will invalidate this setup. We need to watch volatility closely. Put implied volatility is sitting at 180.3% while call implied volatility is at 102.3%. That spread tells us there's still some nervousness in the market, and in this case, that is good because that nervousness is providing liquidity for the move higher. If the cautiousness goes away and the market becomes overly optimistic, that liquidity dries up and the move becomes a little harder to come through. Now, what would change my bias completely? 3 things. First, losing the $45 level would wreck our support structure. Second, a major shift in institutional positioning represented by the delta dropping below 50% positive. And third, the gamma profile shifts mostly negative. If any of those happen, we need to adjust our game plan. The secret sauce here is patience and smart position sizing. This isn't about swinging for the fences on day one. It's more like a poker tournament. You don't have to win every hand to take home the trophy. The mechanics are pointing higher, but we're going to be smart about how we play it. That is it for today. But before I go, remember markets change fast. Always manage your risk and never trade more than you can afford to lose. The setup looks great, but there's no such thing as a sure thing in trading, and this video was created for educational purposes only. Thanks for diving into the market mechanics with me today. Remember to follow us on Twitter at TradesNebula where we post trade ideas and educational content. And soon make sure to check out nebulatrades.com for more analysis. Until next time, trade smart, manage your risk, and let the mechanics guide you. Remember to always trade the data, not the noise.